Music, by the way. Roki Sasaki says no to the Yankees. We're going to discuss that and more coming up on a live edition of Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
Stacey, another week.
Another week, a new layout. We're testing some things out, so things might be a little screwy as we do this live. So and my cat's going to get involved with the live show as well. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. So there's some discussion about DJ LeMahieu and spring training, and we'll talk about that. We're going to talk to you guys too toward the end of the show. There are some of you in here already. But first, the late breaking news within the last hour or so that Roki Sasaki let the Yankees know, nope, not coming to New York.
Yeah, Yamamoto did something similar last year where he kind of notified them prior to signing that he wasn't going to be signing with them. I feel like this is maybe a theme with Japanese players that they tend to let you know in advance. They're not going to be signing with you,
right? Like, I kind of think it's a polite thing that they do where they say, look, I'm going with someone else. It's not you, it's me.
And I don't think it necessarily means that he's made his decision yet either. I think it just means his decision is not going to be with the Yankees. Apparently the Padres are also very heavily involved in the Sasaki, and I haven't seen online that any other team has necessarily been notified that they're out of it either. I've just seen the Yankees have been notified.
Right.
I wouldn't call it anti-Yankee. There's two storylines that are really going around now.
No.
Is there a problem in baseball with Japanese players only wanting to play on the West Coast? And what was really how upset are the Yankees with this news coming out? I know they were involved in the Sasaki sweepstakes, and I don't think they were necessarily not looking for him to come here, but I don't think it was something that they were necessarily depending on this offseason. I don't think were either.
I think Yamamoto was worse. I think that rejection was worse.
That one hurt a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
I think they were really after him. It never felt like the Yankees were fully in on Sasaki. It didn't. I felt like they would have wanted him if he wanted to come here, but it never felt like they were all in head over heels with Sasaki. They would have took him if it was for the right price, and it would have been for the minimum. So I don't know how heartbroken they are. They made the Max Fried move. They did get another pitcher in here. Stacey, I don't look at this as, I don't think there's a lot of panic in Yankee land right now.
No. Like I said, this isn't as big as Yamamoto rejecting them. They were in on Sasaki, but this wasn't like, they weren't after him as if he were their plan A, if that makes sense. They've made all these other moves. This would have been a bonus move, honestly. This would have been like a, wow, okay, the Yankees got another pitcher. How cool kind of a move. This isn't a move that they needed to make. It was a move that would have been nice if it were made, but it wasn't. And I guess the next question is, what happens next? Where do they pivot to? What position will they be looking for? Because, pitching, I think they're okay with right now. Would it be nice to have another arm in the rotation? Sure. But I think the focus should be infield and maybe one or two more relievers.
Yeah, I think I think Sasaki for them was going to be an added bonus, right? Some injury depth. We'll see what you get out of him, but I don't think it was going to be this end all be all kind of move where they needed to make the move for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were in on Sasaki because of the fact that he's so young that his posting number was going to be low. He was going to sign for the minimum. So I think for that price, they would have took him on. But if this was a guy coming out like Yamamoto, where it was going to cost you north of $300 million, I don't think the Yankees were going to be in on him. I don't.
Right.
So I think they were going to take him for the price that he was, with the potential of him becoming an ace. And that was really it. Right now, gun to your head, is it the Dodgers or the Padres, though?
Dodgers.
Exactly. I think, and that's the point that I want to make, though. It's felt like all offseason, and me and you have both shouted this from the mountaintops, that it was going to be the Dodgers. I think everybody thought it was going to be the Dodgers for a while. Obviously, there's that, like heightened Japanese population on the Dodger roster right now, where there's multiple Japanese superstars on that team. I think that helps a little bit, but there is a comfortability with Japanese players playing on the West Coast. I will say this. I still do not buy into the notion that they want to sign on the West Coast because it's closer to Japan. I just don't. Stacey, it's a 5-hour flight from New York to California. These guys are flying on private planes that have couches on them, and the amount of luxury is unbelievable to the average person like us. So I really don't think that what is the flight from Los Angeles to Tokyo? 12, 13 hours, maybe 10 hours. They're flying long enough anyway. I don't think that the 5 hours from New York to LA is really what's doing it for them on signing. And it didn't affect Tanaka's decision. It didn't affect Matsui's decision. And they go back and forth to Japan. And we made the point too. The season is 9 months long in some cases, 8 months long in most cases. Well, not even. It's really 10 months long because it starts in February and you have to be there for spring training. Stacey, how often are these guys going back to Japan? They're not going back to Japan on an off day. So they're only in Japan from, most guys early November, or like less guys early November, most guys early October to the beginning of February. So I can't imagine the flight is that much of a deterrent to these guys. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's just LA's got a thriving Japanese population that we're not aware about. But Stacey, I don't buy into the notion that it's because LA is geographically closer to Japan.
I think it's LA has the money. I think the Dodgers are the premier team in the major leagues right now. The Yankees were in the early 2000s when Hideki Matsui wanted to come over, and he knew that, and it worked out really well for him. It worked out all the people in Japan watching the games, all the people who showed up to games. I went to Hideki Matsui bobblehead day after he had left the Yankees, and I couldn't believe how many people showed up to Yankee Stadium just for the bobblehead day. I think the tides have turned where Los Angeles is a shinier place now. It's the place where that's the marquee place. That's where you want to play because they're the ones who are always in it. They just won a World Series. Ohtani going to the Angels was a little different because at that point, I don't think the Dodgers were trying to get him, right? I can't remember what was happening when Ohtani came over. But right now, they're the marquee team. So anyone coming over from another country, if they get the opportunity to play with the Dodgers and the Dodgers want to give them a contract, they're going to go there.
Los Angeles currently has about 65,000 Japanese residents living there. So I don't think it's a thriving Japanese population in Los Angeles because I see that reported a lot. I don't think it's a thriving Japanese population in the city of Los Angeles that's making these guys want to sign there too, because then when the Angels would be involved in these players too. And Ohtani was really the only notable player that I can think of that went to the Angels. And I just don't. I get it. The Dodgers are the shiny new toy right now, and the Dodgers are the place that everyone wants to play. But to acquire Ohtani, Yamamoto, and now Sasaki, that's a lot of top tier talent coming out that all want to play with the Dodgers. It just seems very strange.
Well, no, because they get Ohtani. Ohtani gets Yamamoto. And Yamamoto and Ohtani get Sasaki, Yeah,
I guess. I mean, right now I'm seeing online too, like just for this notion, I want to debunk this and for good, this distance thing, because again, these private planes that these guys like Ohtani and Sasaki and Yamamoto are all flying on, they're not sitting coach on Delta. Okay, like they're flying private planes with couches and lounges and everything imaginable.
There's also a misconception because at least when I was a kid, this is how I thought it was. I didn't realize that when planes go across the Pacific, they're really going up and over because you can't really cross You need to have land sort of close to you when you're flying long distances. You have to, in case an emergency happens, you need to be near land to fly. I think people have it in their head that these planes are going all the way across the Pacific Ocean, and that makes the flight longer, and that's not what it is.
The flight is about 10 hours from LA to Tokyo straight. It's about 13 hours LA to New York straight. I don't think the 3 hours in a private plane is really killing these guys, and that's what's coming to the decision. I could be dead wrong. But until one of them comes out and says, oh, well, the distance from Tokyo to LA is so much closer on a flight, I'm never going to buy it. And the reason why I keep bringing it up is because it's mentioned everywhere, Stacey. Every time a Japanese player signs in LA, you hear, oh, well, it's the proximity to Japan. I can't imagine that being necessarily true. It just makes no sense to me. And again, the baseball, it's not football where these guys have bye weeks and there's off time in the middle of the season, or hockey where they even get a bye week in the middle of the season now. It's not like they can go return home to their home country. Baseball teams get 1 day off at a time in the middle. Okay, maybe the All-Star break, but that's 3 or 4 days. These guys get 1 day off in the middle of a week. They're not flying to Tokyo and back in 1 day. They're not doing that. So I don't know, Stacey. I can sit here and have all the points. I think yours is the best one. Japan is the shiny new toy. That's it. I mean, the Dodgers are the shiny new toy. They all want to play with the Dodgers. They see Ohtani playing there. The Dodger blue it still is an iconic brand. Let's not go against that.
Yeah.
And they want to play there. I did see a notion online on a Yankee group that I normally look on Facebook. A lot of people give their opinions, and I like to read that opinion. And a lot of people were boisterous about the fact that Japanese players don't have the guts to perform in New York. I don't think that could be further from the truth.
No,
I don't.
Saw Matsui and Tanaka come here, and
yeah,
I mean,
and
as much as it didn't work. Excuse me, as much as it didn't work out, Keigawa,
Yeah, and Stacey, these guys aren't signing with the Athletics, all right? They're signing with the Dodgers, which are the second most popular brand in sports. So it's not like there's no pressure playing with the Dodgers. Of course there is. Especially with all that talent and that payroll, there's a lot of pressure performing there. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I just think, let's not forget too, Stacey, LA is a beautiful place to live. You know, these guys are buying waterfront mansions, living in one of the greatest cities in the world. So I really don't think that it's got a lot to do with New York or anything, or proximity or anything. I just think the Dodgers are the flavor of the month, or the last couple of years, and that's what's pushing these guys to want to sign there. Good for the Dodgers, good for Dodger fans, but I don't think it's anything against the Yankees.
Yep. I mean, we don't know yet, but I mean, I'd be willing, if I had $1 million, I would bet $1 million that Sasaki is going to the Dodgers.
Yeah,
don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out lineups during the season, roster moves, breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. So coming up next, some discussion about DJ LeMahieu.
From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Guys, I am on the FanDuel app all the time, checking the lines, going back and forth, and making sure that I get the best line possible, but also the easiest way to put your bets in. From live bets to futures, it's all available, and it's great right now because it's in the middle of football playoff season where you want to be. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That gets you started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel. It's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And thanks again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. And remember that every Friday is Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath our videos during the week, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club and get top priority during Fan Mail Friday. That link is in the description. So, Stacey, I did want to it is weird being on the other side. I actually don't like this. I'm not going to lie. Being on the left, it's confusing me. I did want to discuss, though, what is going on with the DJ LeMahieu stuff, because if you go on social media, there is a lot of motivation towards DJ being the opening day starter, DJ going through spring training, DJ being on this team. And I do want to say this. We've both been in agreement on the fact that we don't think he really gets out of spring training, or I guess the best way to put it is we don't think DJ is a major player on this team going into the year.
Right.
That's not either one of us saying that we don't hope DJ LeMahieu can be a contributor on this team. Of course we do. But Stacey, I think it needs to be stated the Yankees know what they're doing. And I don't think there is any way they haven't kicked the tires on trying to find a guy for third base. And I can't imagine, Stacey, that they're going to go into 2025 with the goal of DJ LeMahieu being their everyday third baseman. I can't imagine that being the case. Maybe it is, but this feels a lot to me personally like Troy Tulowitzki. He might get out of spring training. That could happen. I don't personally think DJ will, but that could happen. I still think DJ is one foul off his foot away from his career being over. I do. So I don't think that they haven't made a plan for third base, but I think there are contingency plans, and I think there are there is motivation for them to be so in on DJ LeMahieu and to them not to be saying anything and not really tipping their hand too much on being aggressive after guys. And I'll tell you this, and I want to get your opinion on it. If they're aggressive, if the reports come out that they're aggressive after Alex Bregman, Nolan Arenado, name the third baseman that's out there, and that report comes out from Passan, Heyman, whoever it is, the Yankees are aggressively pursuing this guy because they don't believe DJ LeMahieu is their guy. That makes it impossible, almost, for the Yankees to make a trade for a third baseman, Stacey. Because then every team that has a third baseman now knows the Yankees are desperate. That means that if the Yankees call up Brendan Rodgers' camp and want to sign him, that his agent knows they're desperate. We're going to, bleed them for as much money as humanly possible because they need somebody. They're not going to go into this part of the season. Also, it destroys DJ LeMahieu's confidence. They're not going to go into this part of the season, especially in the offseason, acting desperate for a third baseman. It destroys DJ's confidence. And even if they think there's no chance DJ plays next year or gets into the year, why would they tip their own hand and make it harder for them to acquire somebody? It doesn't make any sense at this point. I still think they're going to be on Nolan Arenado. I think they'd be foolish not to be. I still think they're on Alex Bregman. But Stacey, I don't think it's crazy that they're out there right now not, shooting down the notion of DJ LeMahieu being their third baseman next year.
Right. It could be like a bait and switch. Almost.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. LeMahieu's our guy. And then behind the scenes, they're like, all right, what do you want for Arenado?
See, I think the Arenado thing is interesting to me because I don't know about.
I'm just saying as an example. I don't know.
No, but I'd be fully in on him. I think he's a winning player. I don't think he's over the hill on his career. I think Arenado is still a top tier performing player, and even if his bat's not what it was in Colorado, Stacey, he's still a platinum glove, a multi-platinum glove winning fielder, and that's something the Yankees really need. And,
right.
Let's be honest, even if Arenado has a terrible year to his standards next year, it's still going to be better than what they got out of third base last year. So why would you not kick the tires on that? I'll say this, Stacey. The Arizona football's on the mind, I guess. The St. Louis Cardinals. I don't think either of us think that the St. Louis Cardinals necessarily going to have a boisterous, amazing season next year, right? It would be really surprising if by the All-Star break they're at the 50-60 win mark. It really would be. So if we look at where is the Yankee motivation to go out there and make a deal with the St. Louis Cardinals right now? The St. Louis Cardinals know you want a third baseman. If you call about Arenado, they're perfectly fine with going into the season next year with Arenado as their third baseman. They'd probably like to get rid of him in an ideal world. But I'm just trying to pull up right now, Stacey, what the Arizona Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals, I keep saying that, their win total for next year is. Their win total is currently 76 wins on FanDuel Sportsbook of what they think the Cardinals are going to win. So they're not expecting them to be a 500 team. They're supposed to be below 500 and have a bad year. If the Cardinals are out of it, and if you're the Yankees, why would you not wait for the Cardinals to fall out of it by the All-Star break? So Nolan Arenado is not interested in being there anymore. The St. Louis Cardinals are more interested in moving on from players, and they're more desperate to get rid of him because if they're already out of it, what's the motivation to keep him? I think the Yankees could be playing this slow and saying, yeah, we'll go into the year with DJ LeMahieu, and if he can't make it, we'll go with Oswaldo and see what he can give us. But then by the All-Star break, knowing that Arenado's going to want to win, and the Yankees are probably going to be in a winning position, and the Cardinals are going to be in a losing position looking to move him, Stacey, I don't think it's crazy to wait until that point and then go after Arenado.
This sounds similar to the Juan Soto stuff because there was movement at the trade deadline in 23 where the Yankees were kicking the tires on that, and it was basically like, no, wait till the offseason. He might be available then, kind of thing. And then that's how that happened. And this wouldn't be a surprising move at all. This wouldn't be a surprising kind of wait and see from the Yankees. I just don't want them to have this happen and then have someone else swoop in and get Arenado at the trade deadline because they had a better package for him.
Yeah, I agree, and that could definitely happen. I mean, certainly, if Boston's having a great year and they want Arenado, they're going to get him over the Yankees because they're going to have a better package to offer because Boston's farm system is electric right now. So I'm not sitting here saying the Yankees are going to have the best offer.
With some former Yankees.
Yeah, with a lot. Yeah.
Thanks, Alex Verdugo.
I'm not sitting here saying that the Yankees have the best option possible to go get Arenado. I'm just saying that if you think the Cardinals are going to fall out of it, what is the motivation to make that trade in mid-January? Right. There really isn't much of one. So I don't hate the idea. I don't think it's terrible right now. And listen, I just want to make it clear that I don't think DJ LeMahieu has much of a future here. I really don't. I'm not sure if he's played his last game in the Bronx. I'm not saying that I don't want him on this team, but if you sit here and think that they're going into next year with, you know what, DJ's our guy and we're going forward with that, I think you're sadly mistaken because I don't think, if you don't think they've kicked the tires on somebody else at this point, Stacey, I think you're crazy.
It's funny that you keep saying next year because it's really next month.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Wow. We are like a month away, right?
Yeah.
A month and a day. Wow.
Yeah. Spring training is, this offseason is going by fast, actually. Yeah. I thought it was going to drag and we're already halfway through it. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that they're not going to show their hand. They're not going to let everyone know that they're desperate for a third baseman. But I think, and I'll say this before we break, I think they need to really think about the infield because I don't understand how this team, after seeing what happened in the World Series and seeing all their flaws exposed, why they wouldn't try to get the best guys they could to play these positions if they have the opportunity to do it.
Well, and I think too, you need to build up the most star talent possible because you look at the rest of the American League, it's not that much competition in front of them. It's really not. And if you expect to be back in the World Series, which is what their motivation should be, are you competing star talent right now with what the Dodgers are putting out on the field? You're not. So you got to load up as much as possible. If you think that guy is Alex Bregman, then that's my motivation towards giving the money. Really.
All right, coming up next, there are a lot of you in here. We're going to talk. So ask us questions and chat with us in segment 3. Does that feel better?
Yeah, it feels a lot. Maybe because we've been doing it this way for the longest time, it just feels a lot more comfortable like this.
I got to figure out to pull back the curtain. They changed the layout a little bit behind the scenes, so we only really have 2 layouts now, and it's a little hard to finagle things when that one graphic you see comes up on screen. It's only 3 seconds, and it's hard for me to push all the buttons to make everything. So I got to play around with this, but we'll see. We'll try and do it. So let's look at comments.
I'm really interested to see this because it seems to be a hot topic issue for people. Stacey, I just wanted to go for FJ at first. I can't, my computer is not letting me scroll up, but if you can go to his, I got it. Never mind. This comment here that he had Boston is going for him. I haven't seen that anywhere. I've
seen Tigers.
Yes.
Right.
The one that I've seen the biggest motivation is Detroit. I've seen that Houston has kicked the tires on continuing to bring him in. I've seen Arizona at places, which I think would be a really interesting place. I have not remotely seen Boston. Now, I'd say I'm surprised that Boston hasn't been on him. I am with the money. But I think for third base, if Devers is not there on opening day, I think it's because Arenado's there. That's right. What I think Boston's after, but to be honest with you. I knew you were going to this one.
I'm just saying. John Santello, how dare he? This is an outrage. Doesn't he realize who the Yankees are? He probably prefers a championship caliber team, which is basically what we said.
Yeah. John, I don't know if John's a Dodger fan or a Met fan or whatever. But John, the Yankees were in the World Series last year. So I don't think it has a lot to do with wanting to play for a championship caliber
I
team.
think
They
he
won the
really just
American
wants
League
to be with Ohtani and Yamamoto. And you know what? If I had an opportunity to play with
that roster.
that roster and guys from my home country who would make me feel comfortable being in a strange country, then yes, I would do it.
Yeah, the only
Obviously.
thing that he has to cite on how good it is to be a Yankee is by talking to Matsui or Tanaka. That's it. There's no other Japanese players currently on the Yankee roster. I'm not am I confused? No, there aren't. So there's not this big motivation for him to go play there. I want to go to this too because Stacks22 says Arenado was not a long-term solution for third base anyway. He's going to be 34 years old in April, and his stats show that he may be in the beginning of a career decline offensively. I'd agree with you. I don't think he's a long-term solution. I don't think the Yankees are after long-term solutions right now. I don't. I think the Yankees are after winning in the next 3 years. Their window is small, Stacks, and that's why I'm saying Arenado was the option. I think over Altuve, to be honest, not Altuve, over Bregman, to be honest with you. I don't think the Yankees are currently after long-term solutions, Stacey, and if you disagree, please tell me. I think the Yankees know their window is 3 to 4 years. So I think they're after short-term, make us win next year moves. And yes, Arenado may be declining offensively. His numbers declining offensively are still way better than the production they've received at third base over the last 5 years. They're way better than that. And he still is a platinum glove caliber third baseman. Stacey, I don't think we should be sitting here, underselling what Nolan Arenado is as a player. Is he on the back nine of his career? Absolutely, but that's way better than anything the Yankees have put on the field at third base in the last 5 years.
I want to look at this one. Let's not forget that the Yankees didn't try to re-sign Matsui or Tanaka. They were both past their prime, and the Yanks didn't want them anymore. I'm sure both felt disrespected. All right. Tanaka wanted to go back to Japan, and he went back to Japan.
And the Yankees... let's be real, too. The Yankees are not out there making moves to make guys feel respected or anything, Stacey. Like, Tanaka's elbow was a ticking time bomb, and it's held up, even in Japan.
Yeah.
But the Yankees knew that he was one pitch away from his elbow blowing up, and then it didn't do them any due diligence to bring him back on a 3-year deal and have his elbow blow up, and then what?
But he wanted to go back to Japan. Like, he went back
Japan
to
the
Japan.
Yankees. That was it.
And as for Matsui, he's a special advisor for the Yankees. He signed, what was it, a 1-day contract to retire as a Yankee. He loved being a Yankee, and he came back with the Yankees. And what did Matsui do after the Yankees? How many teams did he play with? He was with the Angels. He was with the A's. He was with the Rays. Is that it? Or was there a 14?
That's it. And let's just go over his numbers after the Yankees. So he goes to the Angels, has 21 homers, 84 RBIs. Really good year. It's 274. Yeah. Really good year. Then he goes to Oakland, has 12 homers, 72 RBIs. So the power is going away, but still 72 RBIs. I never remember him being that good with Oakland, but that's insane.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Tampa the year after that, in his last year of his career. He has 2 homers, 7 RBIs, and hits 147. So the Yankees knew that Matsui was on the back nine. They knew that his career was, maybe he had a year or two left with the Yankees, sure, but good organizations let guys walk before they decline, not have
35.
them on the roster while they are.
He was 35 in 2009, and he wasn't an A-Rod 35, and he wasn't even a Jeter 35. I think they could see
the decline,
sort of what was.
Yeah, they knew what was coming, and he was a really good Yankee, and he won a he helped them win a championship and won a World Series MVP with them. I don't think there's any, and I don't think Matsui to this day holds it against the Yankees. I don't.
No,
and
obviously,
you still see him coming back with the organization again. He has a role with the organization, and Stacey. Tanaka was in a suite at the World Series with his wife where he made the long, treacherous flight from New York to Japan to come go to the game in the World Series. And, I mean, Stacey, I don't know if you knew this, but he had the extra bucks in his pocket to afford a suite at Yankee Stadium, and he didn't even complain that he didn't get it for free. So it really is, I don't think either of those guys have any hard feelings towards the Yankees. The Yankees are running an organization here. Like, they can't just, you can't sign guys for legacy or because it makes them feel comfortable. That's not what good teams do. It's not what good organizations do. I know as a fan, you'd love to see it, and we'd all love to see it, sure, but that's not what good organizations do. Good organizations let guys walk a year or two before the decline, not let them decline while they're in that uniform. And
the Yankees do that with some people, but not all.
You know what, though? But that's what you have to do. You have to play hardball with these guys. And case in point was Derek Jeter. right? At the end of Derek Jeter's career, if you don't remember, he wanted a big long-term contract for a lot of money. And Brian Cashman basically sat down with Jeter and said, you're not that player anymore. And Jeter was personally offended and he felt horrible. And Brian Cashman said, listen, and apparently the number Jeter was asking for was $40 million per year. And this is in 2010. So if you're asking for that amount of money at that age, you're crazy. But he thought, he's a legacy Yankee player. They just won their 5th championship. He had 200 hits the year prior. He thought he was going to get this massive deal. And Brian Cashman, and it's a famous quote, said to Derek Jeter, and you guys cannot like Cashman all you want, but he said to Jeter in the meeting, if you think you can get a 3 or 4 year deal for that amount of money, go get it. And he allowed him to go talk to other teams, go get it. Guess who came crawling back to the Yankees a week later? Derek Jeter. So if they can do it to Derek Jeter, they can certainly do it to Matsui and Tanaka and Stacey. Guess who's been back on Yankees old timers days and for bigger and better events with the Yankees since then? Derek Jeter. These guys know it's a business. That's how it works. And Brian Cashman is still working for the Yankees, and Derek Jeter still shows up. So maybe they don't get along great and they're not going out for dinner every night. But you know what? Derek Jeter still shows up back. Brian Cashman still shows up back. And I think by this point, Derek Jeter acknowledges that it was a business decision and Brian Cashman knew how to run a team. That's what he was doing.
Yep. Brian, do you want to tell the audience who our next interview guest is for Wednesday's show?
So we'll be live tomorrow at 4:00, same time. We'll have an interesting episode tomorrow because barring any other breaking news, which it seems like every time we do a live show in the offseason, there's breaking news somehow.
Always, yeah.
Right? But thankfully, this breaking news came before
instead of after
the show.
Yeah.
But tomorrow we'll go over Hall of Fame ballots and Yankee coaching news too. So that'll be a lot of fun to go over too. But Wednesday, that's in the episode premiere. We're gonna have Michael Kay on. Sure, you guys are all aware of who that is. But from the S Network, he'll be on with us to talk about his career and what's going on in the organization and stuff. We've been in touch with him all offseason. Looking forward to this one. So should be a really fun one. Michael's a great guy, and it should be fun for this is the first time I've actually interviewed Michael Kay in my career. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to point out that Michael Kay is our first 2-time guest, other than crossover, with fellow Locked On hosts, but an outsider guest. Yeah, Michael Kay, first 2-time guest. We'll have to do something to celebrate that when we interview him. We'll have to make a big deal out of that. So thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings you a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. You can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And just in case you didn't know, Sully lives in Pasadena, and yes, he's okay. Everyone's okay. He was able to evacuate, and everyone was safe. Thank goodness. So that'll do it for this live edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys live tomorrow.
Yes, as I try to get stuff to go up on screen, because I'm still trying to figure this out. Hold on. Bye, everyone.